Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Heart and Health Wellness. I'm your host, Dr. Melissa Welch, and I am so glad that you are here. Today, we are going to be talking all about when we experience the whole what ifs, or what if I had done this, or I should have done that. We all know that it's not a good feeling. It's very overwhelming. It produces anxiety and stress. Sometimes it keeps us up at night. Sometimes it interferes with our relationships. It's just not a good place to be, but it's a very common place to be. So today I'm going to talk all about what that looks like, how we can put it to a stop, and how you can hopefully prevent it from happening as much, or maybe not at all, in the future. As a reminder, last week we talked about how to stop fear, how to stop anxiety using the pause and pivot method, and we will revisit that a little bit. But if you missed that episode, I would encourage you to go back and take a listen to that. If you are new here, welcome. This is a podcast where I take all of my knowledge and training that I've gained over the last decade, where I have learned how to be a therapist, not only in practice, but also in the clinic, working with people, really seeing what the struggles are that you might have and how to help you with that. I'm trying to do that in a very easily accessible manner so that you can listen to this podcast or watch these videos and get the tools and techniques that you need, especially if you're someone who's super busy, needs to listen on the go, and maybe you don't have time to do your own therapy, or you don't have the resources or the funds to do it. So I'm trying to help you with that. Hello, Reggie. Reggie likes to make an appearance. If you're just listening and you didn't see that, that is my cat, Reggie, who's making an appearance. And I feel like they're showing up a lot more lately. Anyways, so today, that is what we're going to be talking about. Let's go ahead and dive in. So first of all, I want to just talk about some of the things that might come up for you if you are overthinking. So a lot of times I hear patients think or talk about things like, what if this goes wrong? Or what if I hurt someone's feelings? Or I should have said it differently? Or I should have been able to handle this issue better. But essentially, it's not just thinking a lot. It's thinking about something in an unproductive manner. It's not a bad thing to be thinking about how to handle a situation, and we're constantly thinking throughout the day. Our voices and our minds are always running. That's a normal thing. But when it becomes obsessive and unproductive and leading to negative emotions or feelings like anxiety, that's where it's really going to just drain you and not be helpful. So it's going to make us feel mentally exhausted, emotionally exhausted, and it can even wear on your sleep, and it can make you feel kind of achy or yucky or cause headaches. So it can wear on you physically as well. And as you know, with everything on this podcast, we talk about how all of our actions, our behaviors, our choices, our relationships, everything, how it deals with our biopsychosocial spiritual health, because all of that is interconnected. How we feel physically, how we're thinking about things, how we relate to other people and feel connected to those around us, and how we feel like we have purpose and meaning in the world. All of that needs to be considered. And when we're talking about overthinking and doing that nasty cycle, it's going to affect all of those different areas. So it's important to think about how you are being influenced in those areas when this is happening to you. I hope that makes sense. Sometimes I say things and I'm like, is this helpful? So let me know in the comments if it's helpful. Okay. All right. So I want to really normalize today. If you take anything away from this conversation today, and it's going to be a brief one, if you take anything away from it, know that this is a normal process, a normal phenomenon. It's a very common thing to experience because it's protective in nature. As humans, as animals, our brains are trying to prevent us from experiencing pain, prevent us from experiencing rejection, to not feel shame or embarrassment or things like that. And if we lived in this world where we could protect ourselves completely, there's benefit to having all of that planned out and figured out. So if we want to figure out how to avoid something we've experienced in the past, it makes sense that we're going to replay that, learn from it, and then apply it to the future. So again, there's not anything wrong with thinking through what you've done, what you've experienced, or what you might be about to experience or engage in, I think that can be a very healthy behavior. It's when it becomes too much or obsessive or disruptive to your normal routine and your normal way of being and relating to others and engaging in life. That's when it becomes problematic. But the behavior itself, the actual process of thinking through things, is really normal and really appropriate. So there's not anything wrong with you. So just take that. It's okay that you're doing this, but also let's make it a little bit better, a little bit more productive if we can. Keeping us in a state of constant anxiety, of stress, of cortisol being up, that is not helpful. That self-doubt, not helpful. You get in this nasty, vicious trap cycle that continues on, and it's not good. So I want to give you a quick real life example from my own experience this week. I found myself just totally overthinking a situation that I had with my child. And sometimes it happens more than I would like. I think in this new chapter of motherhood, if you're a mom, I'm sure you can relate to this, or a dad, you can relate to this as well. If you don't have children, you have pets, you can probably relate to this too. But there's a lot of pressure, at least that I put on myself, to respond in the correct way, to say the right things, to say it at the right volume, to say it with the right tone, all of that. I think I'm probably hyper aware of these things because I am a therapist. And so I know how I react and respond as a parent directly influences his view of the world. And I get that. So I find myself kind of rethinking these moments to see if I could have done it differently. And again, I think to some extent that can be helpful to say, you know what, I snapped a little bit louder than I would have liked to, or snapped at all, and I wish I didn't do that. Or when I fussed at him, I told him no, I really got in his face and I didn't need to do that. And it's not that my parenting is bad. I think I'm a pretty good parent, but I'm not perfect. And so I kind of hyper analyze these situations, and it's not always helpful if I get into doing that too much. So I try to catch myself in the moment when it's happening. But I just say that because I want you to know it's normal for me to ask questions like, should have I should I have just stayed calm in that moment? Was it even reasonable for me to react at all? Or did I handle that well enough? Or is he going to feel like he needs to hide this or that from me now because he feels like he can't come to me with that, whatever it might be. And sometimes it's not even something that I'm dealing with now in this stage of his life. It could be something that I'm worried about dealing with when he's 16. But again, it's normal for the brain to do this, and it's important that we recognize it and do something about it when it happens. So, all of these questions that come up in my mind, asking me if I did the right thing, if I messed up, should I have done it differently? Those are all things that I've experienced, even with the training and the experience that I have. So if this sounds familiar, you're in the right place, and I hope this is helpful. When I notice myself doing that, I try to stop myself in the act. So, Melissa, you're overthinking this. I try to take some deep breaths because remember, deep breathing isn't just trendy. It actually helps your brain shift from, oh my goodness, something's happening, to I can be calm and think logically. So I take a deep breath and then I remind myself I'm a good parent. I have human moments. I am not perfect, and that is okay. My overthinking is not helping me. It's not helping me be a better parent. It's not helping me improve my relationship with my child or grow in wisdom or anything like that. And it's just making me feel worse about a situation in which I was an imperfect human. This is not serving me well right now. So let me do something that's going to serve me better. Okay. So when this happens, I want you to pause yourself, notice what is happening in the moment, take some deep breaths, and then move towards giving yourself grace. This is the hard part, but the crucial part for making this process somewhat helpful, somewhat restorative, somewhat useful to you. Okay. So we have to give ourselves grace. Just like you would someone else who you love and care about, you need to extend that to yourself. Overthinking is the anxious part of us trying to figure something out. It is trying to be productive and helpful, but it's not. The answer is not fixing what happened, but rather maybe forgiveness or understanding or empathy. Recognizing that in that moment, I was trying to protect him. I didn't want him to touch a hot stove or grab a knife off the counter, whatever it might be. My fear was his lack of protection or safety. So my response was immediate in that moment. Maybe it wasn't a great one, but it came from a place of concern and love for my child. And if I recognize that, I can say, okay, maybe next time something like this happens, I would rather respond this way. And then leave it at that. Give myself grace. I'm learning this parenting thing. I'm brand new to it. It's okay that I don't have it down just right. And heck, in 20 or 30 years, I still won't have it down just right. And that is okay. I'm learning. I'm growing. We talked about this before, I think even last week. You're going to be a learner throughout your life. It is okay to mess up along the way. Rather than saying something like, I should have known better, I should have done this better, instead saying, I did the best I could with what I knew then or how things were going in that moment. I did the absolute best I could with the knowledge, given the context, given the circumstance. And maybe I would do things differently in the future now that I have this knowledge and this experience, but I did my best in that moment with what was going on. Okay. That is what you want to say to yourself. Instead of saying, I should have known better, say, I did the best that I could with what I knew at that moment. When we stop to validate our intentions, our meaning, what we were trying to do, we create that space to learn, to be a learner without shaming ourselves. Now, there's a difference between guilt and shame. And I'm going to touch on this real quick, just at a very basic level. Guilt is I did something bad. Shame is I am something bad or someone bad. And we don't want to say that we are bad, but maybe we messed up. Okay. It's okay to have guilt. Guilt helps us learn. Guilt helps us move in a better direction. Guilt isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's a good, solid thing that we should have in culture. And there's nothing wrong with that. Shame is where it becomes harmful. It says there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you for having a human moment. Okay. We want to change that so it's not a consistent pattern of bad behavior or messing up in the same way over and over again without learning from it. We absolutely want to learn, but it is okay to have those moments and experience those moments. We experience real change when we create that space for ourselves to be learners and to have grace and compassion for ourselves. Okay, I want to take a quick moment to pause before we go any deeper with that to just say a big thank you to my husband and I guess my son for my beautiful Mother's Day gift. Now, if you're watching the video, you can see my necklace right here. It is from We Are Ama. I talk about them all the time because they make excellent gifts for our moms. And my husband picked up on the hints and got me this beautiful necklace. The little edges actually spell out mama, which is really cute. And it's a great quality piece that I'm going to have for a very long time. And I love it. If you want something like this, or a mom who needs some of their other goodies, or you know a new mom and you want to gift her something beautiful, you can use the code Melissa for 15% off. And I will leave that link for We Are Ama down in the show notes. I'm their biggest fan. I talk about them all the time. I love my cocoon. I love the other pretty things that I've gotten from them, and I'm obsessed with my new necklace. You do not have to be a mom to appreciate these things. You can give it and feel good about that gift. And it's okay that we're past Mother's Day because I know there's birthdays coming up, baby showers coming up, new babies being born, all the things. So check them out. We Are Ama, women-owned business, small business. They create beautiful, wonderful things made of good quality. Get 15% off. Use the code Melissa. Okay, so let's come back real quick. I want to revisit the pause and pivot method that I talked about last week because it relates to what we're talking about today. That overthinking process is directly related to anxiety and sometimes fear, like I mentioned. So this pause and pivot method can be useful with this too. Now, if you already listened to last week, I'm not going to go into this as much detail. If you did miss last week, still go back and listen, but I'm going to cover this just real quick. It's very simple. When you notice yourself experiencing some intense anxiety or difficult situation, I want you to pause, take a deep breath in, count to 2, exhale for 2, notice what's actually happening, tell yourself the actual truth about the situation, picture yourself doing what you want to do instead, and then go forward and do it. even though it's challenging. So it's a little bit different in this situation because you might not be in the moment. And how I talked about it last week is really when you're in that moment, and that deep breath doesn't need to be a long drawn out process. It's in for two, out for two. Picture yourself, move forward with that anchoring thought, right? If this is in the what if I should have done this or that overthinking stage, similar process, taking the deep breath, getting yourself out of fight or flight, frustration mode, into thinking logically mode, and then being able to move forward in a more productive way. I still want you to picture yourself being that good parent or making that decision or getting that thing done, whatever it might be. Still want you to have some truth that you say, I know I'm a good parent. I know I'm a good worker. I know that I can do this, whatever it might be, and then move forward. The idea is we catch ourselves in the moment, we do some breathing to ground ourselves, and then we move forward in a better direction without getting our brain all swamped up in this yucky cycle that's unproductive, right? No, it's easier said than done because I experienced this too. I know from working with clients that it takes a lot of practice to really get this into like a normal rhythm where it feels natural to you. I understand that. I don't expect it to be easy and 100% effective from the get-go, but the more you practice it, the better you will get with it. Okay? So give that a shot. Pause, take a deep breath in, count 1, 2, out 3, 4. Picture yourself grounded in your values on the other side of the overthinking. So let's do an example real quick. So I'm going to pause and I breathe and I remind myself I value connection and repair. I can model that growth by apologizing, and that is a powerful thing to do. I visualize myself hugging my child later, telling them that I love them and showing them what healthy emotional regulation looks like and setting that example. And doing that is going to help me shift out of that situation where I'm feeling shameful and into a place of having intention and encouragement and feeling optimistic about being able to move forward in a healthier way. Remember, the importance here is that you're not trying to erase the fear or diminish the negative experience that happened, but instead you're just trying to let the more productive, more beneficial, the truer story come to light and take up more space in your mind than the other. We can't completely get rid of that other part. It's normal for it to be there, but we don't have to let it control our thoughts and our mind and consume our thoughts all the time. Okay, so this brings us to the piece where I want to talk about the letting go of control that is so difficult but so helpful to us. Okay, when we stop overthinking, it is because we are letting go of control of the outcomes of that situation. Sometimes we think, if I think about this enough, maybe I can figure it out and prevent pain from happening. But the truth is, in life and on your wellness journey, you are going to experience challenges, painful experiences, difficulties, and life just does not work like that. We have to figure out how to let go of the control that we don't have, focus on our own control, which is of our behaviors, the words that we say, things like that, and trust that we're going to allow ourselves to grow and learn and become better versions of ourselves with time. That takes time, it takes practice. Releasing control does not mean that you are weak or incapable. Instead, it is giving yourself the opportunity to be a better version of yourself who recognizes that the world is something out of your control and you do have power and control of your sphere. We're not letting go of that part. We're still owning our stuff, but we're letting the other things just fall into place. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So your brain does not have to be the hero of all of the different moments. Okay. Sometimes it's enough to just be in the moment and be present, to do your best and trust that that growth is going to come with the experiences along the way. Reggie is running through the room. If you can hear her little buffalo feet. Real quick, I want to talk about how overthinking can be detrimental to your different areas of wellness. First of all, biologically, your body's going to be tense, okay? Tense shoulders, tense neck, your back is aching. It's not good. you're not getting great sleep because you're awake and thinking about this. Psychologically, you have more anxiety. Okay, you're worrying in an unhelpful manner, worrying too much. Your confidence is going down, feeling bad about yourself. Socially, you might second guess those interactions. You might even avoid some conversations because you're worried about saying the wrong thing. And spiritually, you're going to disconnect from that peace that you might have, that inner peace and purpose, having a sense of presence. So, all of these different areas of your wellness are going to suffer when you are doing this overthinking on a regular basis and doing it too much and not stopping yourself in that moment. That is why it is worth it to learn how to recognize the spiral when it's about to start, or if it does get started, how to stop that spiral. So, knowing when it's getting there and then really building that muscle of noticing, breathing, and pivoting toward your values. And again, it's really important to be clear on what those values are so that they come in handy and help you in these moments. Okay, if this resonates with you, I want to leave you with a verse that I think is directly related to this issue. So if you're doing some meditation or journaling, this verse might be something that you want to kind of chew on or think about over the next week. This comes from Philippians 4:6-7. This is the New Living Translation. Do not worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all that He has done. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and minds as you live in Christ Jesus. Remember, you are not alone. Overthinking is a very normal phenomenon. You're not broken. There is nothing wrong with you for experiencing this. You are learning and you are very much loved. And I want you to treat yourself the way that you would treat others. If someone came to you and said they were overthinking and struggling with this, how would you respond to them? And I want you to try and do that to yourself as well. Okay, so if you find yourself stuck with all of this overthinking and you're just thinking, oh my goodness, I feel so overwhelmed. I'm trying all the things to make life better and I just feel like nothing is working. I want to encourage you, I want to invite you to take this free wellness blind spot quiz that I created. It's going to help you figure out which area, whether it's biological, psychological, social, or spiritual, that you might be unintentionally neglecting. Now, the quiz itself is nothing fancy. It takes just a couple of minutes to complete it. And I'm going to send you a PDF basically that you can open up and you can either print it out or you can jot down your scores with a piece of scratch paper. It is nothing fancy, but it's going to help you do some reflection to figure out which area you're really struggling with. So if you've not yet taken that blind spot quiz, I would highly encourage you to do so today or this week sometime. I'm going to include the link down in the show notes, so check it out. I think it will be helpful to you. As always, if today's episode was helpful to you, if you learned something, if it made you think, I would ask that you give it a positive review, whether that's 5 stars or a thumbs up, whatever it might be on the platform that you're listening or watching. And if you can think of one other person who might be helped by this episode, I would ask that you send it to them as well. This is a new podcast. It's a new project that I'm getting up off the ground. I have started posting on Instagram, so make sure you follow me at Heart and Health Wellness on there. Still a little bit active on TikTok, but mostly on Instagram, so find me there. But give it a rating, share it with someone that you love, and connect with me on social media because I want to hear from you. That is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care of yourself, and until next time, be well.